So after I was emancipated and being up on the resin, really seeing how much they contributed and how one of them was getting up in age, and he said that he wasn't going to be around much longer, and I needed to kind of step up and be who I really am as a shaman. They brought in several other shamans from other reses to talk to me. So I said, okay. And then we had a ceremony and everything where, yeah, I have no idea, there was hundreds, actually a couple thousand or more that showed up. And from that time forward, I was called Kata. Kata means mom. Kata means grandma. Just stretching the out a little bit. And so I went through the ceremony, and it's kind of a hard thing to explain, but when I finally accepted it, so many things just came together. And my first doctoral was as a psychologist, and it all came and helped in that, because a spiritual leader, people that have problems, that help with making decisions or whatever, psychology fits right into that. So I was very lucky that my desire and education and that happened to support each other. So I was a shaman, and I started doing our ceremonies. We basically have 4 main ceremonies a year. You know, you have the equinoxes and the salsa, winter and summer, and we do those, and we have longhouses, and that's where people come in, and I would give thanks for 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes. Don't ask for nothing, you just give thanks. And the word no means thank you God, or thank you Supreme Being, or whatever name you want to give that one person, you know. And so it helped me even further down the road when I ended up in a lot of other problems physically and everything, because I traveled not just to my res, but I started going, and I traveled from east to west in Canada, and from a third of the states in the United States doing ceremonies. And one of the sad things is because, remember when I said we were getting beaten if we spoke our language? So we've lost almost all of the native languages are gone.
I have a question from, all your shaman ceremonies. I love the story about during death, when everybody, should be sad from the loss of a person, but from a shaman's perspective, you had I remember you telling me a story once where you have such a beautiful perspective of somebody passing,
I will mention that, but I'll do that in the next segment because it takes a lot of time.
It does.
And you wouldn't have enough time. So we'll make that the next one right after this. It's a great way to introduce it, but yeah, being a shaman was the biggest gift that the people around gave me. I didn't give. Anytime I would see somebody that a light bulb would come on or their life would change in a positive way, that just was the greatest gift of all to myself, and I was so lucky, and I managed to see that in a lot of people.
What was some of the best advices that you've given as a shaman to people when they've gone through hard times?
Well, it's an impossible question to answer, because there are a million problems in a million different different solutions. But the basic one is you first have to understand your own core values. If your core values are wrong, then we need to change core values. And so if you want to be accepted in your community, there's written and unwritten rules, and so are acceptable. So if you're doing things that are unacceptable and people don't like you, we have to get your behaviors to change. If I can change your behaviors after 6 weeks, sometimes less than that, your thought process, something that you may have thought was stupid, now makes total sense. And you may not even be willing to admit that you thought was stupid before, except when I had recordings that,
Yeah. Great
and
advice.
so those are the real values that I think in changing people's perspective. Life is good when you can do that.